Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about the film A Bride on the Second Floor, which is a film produced in South Korea in 1968. Right in the beginning of the film, we can see a wedding. It's a wedding in Western style, and it seemed totally okay, normal, usual. However, we can see that the bride was wearing a mini skirt, which was very much into fashion in the 1960s. Of course, that it became reason of gossip among everyone who was in the wedding, especially the elderly people. And of course, that the groom was really distressed with that. And it set the tone to the rest of the film. The bride was actually a very independent woman, ahead of her time, used to do things her way, and she had a more modern lifestyle in a very innocent way, but it was still a clash between the westernized values and the traditional Korean values. So after the couple got married, they moved in to the house of the parents of the groom. And there were many clashes between the newlywed wife and her mother-in-law, which was a typically conservative Korean lady. She wore typical clothes. She wanted her daughter-in-law to wear this kind of clothes and stop wearing Western clothes. The daughter-in-law wasn't very much used in the beginning with the housework, and the mother-in-law found that an absurd. And we can also see that all the clashes between both women, they were because of that, the contrast between traditional values and modern day westernized values. Because in South Korea, it was almost the 1970s, and of course that the westernized values were starting to take root in the Korean society. And then there was a bigger clash when the daughter-in-law, she wanted to modernize the kitchen because it was a very out-of-date kitchen, and it was very bad for the back because people had to bend down all the time to cook. It wasn't a good thing. And then the daughter-in-law suggested to modernize that, and to make things worse, she brought to home an interior designer. And the concept of interior designer in the 1960s, it was very new. And of course that the mother-in-law was horrified with that. And to make things a little bit more complicated, the father-in-law actually took the side of her daughter-in-law. The father-in-law, he agreed with the fact that the family should have a more modern lifestyle and that her daughter-in-law wasn't really wrong. And the son of the couple and the woman, they had a happy marriage. They loved each other. There was nothing wrong with their relationship. It was only the mother-in-law who opposed her attitudes. For example, the daughter-in-law, she whistled while she cooked, and the mother-in-law found that an absurd. And there were many clashes. And then the father-in-law, he became an ally of the couple, and then he made a scene pretending that he was very sick. And at this point, both the husband and wife, they left home and decided to move by themselves. And then a kind of fortune teller told the mother-in-law that asked her if she had kicked out someone from her home. She said yes, and then the fortune teller said it was the reason why her husband was so sick, and the mother-in-law was very superstitious, and he asked the couple to live in their house again. But then we can see that after those initial clashes, both women started to get along and to give in a little bit. As time passed, the daughter-in-law, she became more used with the housework. She started to wear more traditional Korean clothes, and then the mother-in-law got happy with that. She started to be more used to take care of the house, and she did that with pleasure, not because she was oppressed or anything. She was happy in her marriage, she liked her in-laws, and she had pleasure to take care of them. And it becomes very clear because it was approaching the 30th anniversary of marriage of their in-laws, and it's very symbolic that we can see the album of their wedding 30 years before, and they got married with those beautiful Korean clothes, very imponent. It's very interesting. And then the daughter-in-law, she organized a party for her in-laws so they could celebrate their wedding anniversary. She even sold her wedding ring so they could afford a very nice party, a very beautiful party. In this party, we can see that both the father and the mother-in-law, they kind of got married again, but this time in the Western style, which is a symbol of West and East being together. And then they got really fond of each other, both women. However, in the husband's work, he was told by his boss that he was supposed to work in the New York office for 3 years. And of course that the mother-in-law opposed that vehemently. But she didn't oppose her son to go. She opposed her daughter-in-law to follow her son. And she wanted her daughter-in-law to stay. First, she created an excuse. It was because of the housework. But then she confessed that she would miss her daughter-in-law very much. She told her daughter-in-law that she was harsh teaching things to her, not because she didn't like her, but because she wanted her daughter-in-law to learn everything, to be a good housewife. It would be good for her. And then we can see that when the couple left to the United States, the mother-in-law, she cried a lot, and then she gave her own wedding ring to her daughter-in-law. She said to her daughter-in-law that she should wear a wedding ring, and both women cried a lot. It was a very beautiful scene in the end. So even though this film is often funny, it's clearly a symbol that we should keep our traditional values, but not be closer to the modern values, to embrace the Western values too, to have both types of values together, and that it would be good for the society. And we can see how it was this transition of past to present in the Korean society. It's a very nice film. Like most Korean classics, it's not too easy to be found, but you can see online, maybe in DVD in some collections, and it's very worth showing it, especially because it has elements of comedy. And most of classic Korean films, they are dramas, and we can see a little bit, something a little bit different. We can see the traditional dishes, the traditional values and mindset of Korea, which is great too. So I'm sure you're going to love this film. I strongly recommend that. That's all for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you!